Now, each year, 15,000 teachers graduate throughout the country, which is well below the 25,000 mark required for effective learning. And with more teachers leaving the profession than joining it, it's clear we need to preserve and support young graduates and teachers throughout their first 5 years of work. And to unpack this further, I'm joined by the Spark Soweto Achievement Manager, Gundo Mmbi. Good afternoon to you, and thank you so much for joining us. Just in terms of retaining the skill set, the critical skill set among teachers seems to be a continuous struggle. Gundo, do you think that it's because of the working conditions, the pressure? What can we attribute this to?
Good afternoon to you and your viewers. Thank you so much for having me. I think this is like a big issue that we have happening in the country throughout the public sector and the private sector. We are seeing a lot of young teachers getting into the industry and then leaving right immediately. But we are also seeing that we are not getting as quality of teachers that we would like to actually try and support our schools. So at Spark Schools, we believe that South Africa will lead global education. That is one of our mission. And to do that, we need teachers. The reasons vary from professional development, which at Spark Schools, we offer about 200 hours of professional development. We are talking from how to actually teach, which is your methodology on how you teach, behavior management of the kids, how do you manage the kids when you're in the classroom. And this is not consistent with the public sector and the private sector, where we are investing a lot of time on professional development and making sure that these teachers have the skills that they need in order for them to excel in the classroom. So when they are in university, they're not also getting real-time feedback or real-time experience about what kids are going through in our classrooms in South Africa. So when they get in the context, they realize that, oh my God, I can't handle kids' behavior. The curriculum might not support some of the ways in which we need it to support. For example, our behavior challenges in South Africa, you're hearing that kids are coming to classes with cell phones, knives, some teachers are getting stabbed, some teachers are getting slapped. All of that can be quite discouraging, and that's coming from the fact that our social emotional learning program is not as strong as it should be to support both the teachers and the scholars. So at Spark Schools, what we do is we have a whole entire curriculum on behavior management, a whole entire curriculum on social emotional learning as well, to try and support and make sure that we retain the teachers. Because it could be quite overwhelming to just go into the classroom.
Gundo, I just want to touch on what you referred to as the poor quality of teachers. And we just recently celebrated World International Teacher Day. They are fantastic teachers who have gone to shape professionals and, people that have gone on to achieve great success. But when you say there is also poor quality of teachers, which will impact on their ability to teach and the learners, for them to be able to grasp the curriculum or syllabus that the teacher presents, how far widespread is that, in your view, if you do have the data at hand, of teachers who simply should not be in the business of teaching purely because of the quality of their own qualifications?
So I don't think there's an issue with the actual qualification itself. I think one of the things we need to look into is how are we supporting the kids in the classroom and the teachers as well. So as you know, we went into school in a different system, and the system was more corporal punishment, more things that are now against the law. And there's a lot of learning and unlearning that needs to happen. So by quality of teachers, we're talking about losing patience, not knowing the difference between a child and an adult. Being able to know that, yes, a child is coming to class and displaying all form of emotions and frustration, and there's something bigger than just the fact that maybe they're disrespectful. So what we're talking about is not having the patience to hold space, and all of that comes through professional development. So because we are coming into the work environment and then you are realizing that there isn't really a policy that's like saying, oh my God, this is what you need to do, or look into the psychology of the kids that we have in the classroom. I mean, as we know, in South Africa, we've got GBV as one of the biggest pandemics that we have. And our kids are witnessing that in their homes. And where they display that behavior is in the classroom. So when the teacher is not patient enough with the kids, or the teacher's not understanding the psyche that comes with that and the trauma that the kids have suffered, they actually end up acting out. This is where you're seeing videos of teachers shouting at the kids, kicking the kids. That's because the emotional intelligence that is needed to hold space for these kids is really something that we need to emphasize in. So in our education training facilities and universities, it is important to teach our teachers about how they're going to deal with the kids when they get to the classroom. That's why I am a big believer of teacher training and just classroom observation and practicals that are done in different higher learning institutions. So I think there is a lot of support, and the reason people are leaving, and young people per se, is because they're not getting the support they need in order for them to be able to hold space for the kids and be able to support them. So that social emotional learning, knowing that a child is not using his words because maybe last night at home there was something that disturbed his process, that a child is thrown off by certain routines, that something is happening, and we need to look into that.
And Gundo, the brain drain as well, where teachers may find greener pastures or opportunities abroad or online, and not necessarily having to be subjected to the very dire and stringent conditions of, teacher pupil ratio, remuneration issues, etc. Is that quite prominent in your experience?
Yes, that is prominent, but I think that the age group that's going to teach overseas is quite young people. You're looking to travel, you're young, you want to explore different cultures. That is what we're seeing happening. But most of that is also coming from the frustration of not really getting the support that we need. So we need, as teachers, be able to support them, and that can only come through professional development. So a simple example that happened in Spark schools is that the moment you start in our schools, we dedicated 2 weeks of the beginning of the year on something called pre-service teacher development, where we're walking you through the moment a child walks in, to the moment they have a book, to the moment they show emotion, to the moment where you have to hold things like community circle to listen to them. And that support is important for new graduates. So what we are saying is, if we have a rigorous professional development in the country and we're implementing these things across all different spectrum, with the private, with the public, our teachers will feel more empowered and more confident enough to actually step into these classes and support our kids. So I think that it is very, 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 very important that we actually make sure that we are developing the teachers. Some of the young teachers who teach in different spectrums, they come and say, oh, I was in the classroom alone for a whole term before someone could come and observe if I'm doing the right job, if my kids are feeling supported. That feedback is very important for new teachers, and that development comes from that. So when you're feeling frustrated, of course, you're going to take up opportunities overseas. Some teachers are even teaching online, because there's a lot of teacher-scholar bullying, teacher-teacher bullying, scholar-scholar bullying. All of that needs a very strong life skill program that actually support our kids on how to be self-aware and how to manage their emotions, while the adults are actually also holding space. And through professional development, you would know what that would look like and what scholars look like. It's the same as teaching. If you're teaching, you can
I'm afraid we're going to have to leave it there, ma'am. Gundo Mmbi, she is the Spark Soweto Achievement Manager, speaking about the importance of supporting especially young graduates. We love and appreciate our teachers. Many of us had been inspired and shaped to be who we are because of the caliber of teachers that we have throughout our career. So thank you very much for our teachers. Much, much love.